Watkins Glen is a track rich in history, dating back to the late 1940s. And history of a sort is going to be made today when the 1989 IROC Championship is decided. Already, 3 of the 4 races have been run, and Labonte, Wallace, and Earnhardt, all from NASCAR, have emerged as the real contenders for the championship. Al Unser Jr. and Scott Pruitt are the long shots. Points awarded as you see here. In addition, drivers score points for leading the most laps. Prize money is a serious matter because in IROC, unlike other forms of racing, there is no team with which you must split your money. In IROC, it's all yours. Let's have a look at the lineup. On the pole, Terry Labonte in the cream-colored car. He won the last IROC race, and that put him in the series lead, so he's got some momentum. Rusty Wallace in powder blue. He will not let this championship get away from him without somebody going off the road. Dale Earnhardt in that vivid purple car. He's as aggressive as Wallace. Al Unser Jr. in dark blue, the defending IROC champion, in a slump since his defeat at Indy. Scott Pruitt looking sinister and threatening in black. A.J. Foyt in bright blue. He's had his best race this year so far in an IROC car. Danny Sullivan, like Foyt, he's in a bright blue car. 1988 kart champion, broke his arm this spring, and Bill Elliott, 1988 NASCAR champion, also broke his arm this spring. Curly Haywood in yellow specializes on courses like this. Rick Mears in white, the 3-time Indy winner. Richard Petty in Evans orange, the all-time NASCAR legend. Jeff Brabham in red, study of competence, maybe not charisma. And Jack Arute. Of these 12, only Foyt and Al Unser Jr. have been IROC champions. But there's every chance that today we will see another man as IROC champion.
Well, Sam, as they get ready to present themselves out of turn number 7, there's been one change. Carrying number 11 is Jeff Brabham. He should have started to the outside, but he'll go to the inside because he did not practice in these IROC cars. The field comes out of turn number 7. The pace car is off. We are just 100 yards away. The green flag has been displayed. On the break, darting to the outside, trying to cover a spot on Al Unser Jr. In the light blue car is Rusty Wallace. Ducking to the inside in the purple car. Going for the lead is Earnhardt. Earnhardt has the door slammed on him by Terry Labonte. Down through turn number 1 for the first time. They are very tightly bunched.
Well, Jack, it looks like they all made it through the turn. It's a hard turn to make it through. The first turn is about 120 degrees around, a very sharp turn. There they are down through the S's, but they all made it through without any fender banging.
It's a 3-car contest for second position as Labonte has lengthened his advantage by about 4 car lengths. Dipping to the outside in the powder blue car is Rusty Wallace. Wallace trying to cover the spot as we go on board Terry Labonte's car, and look at this battle for second position.
160 miles an hour on that straightaway as they funnel now down into turn 5, which brings them from one end of the track back to the other with Terry Labonte leading the way.
And Al Unser Jr. has gained a position. Unser in the blue number 4 car has taken over the 3rd spot, and he sets his sights on Rusty Wallace in the powder blue car. Meanwhile, it's still Terry Labonte up front. He's trying to run away from these fellas.
That pass that little Al did, Jack, was at the end of the long straightaway where you can do a little bit of slipstreaming. What the dust you saw there is just the guys running up on the shoulders that you can do here at Watkins Glen. But at any rate, he used the slipstreaming and got by Earnhardt right at the end of the long straightaway.
As they come down the straightaway for the first time, 29 more circuits to go. Terry Labonte looks inside his mirror as we look at Al Unser Jr., and he's got a good view of the battle for first and second. He'd like to get in this hunt.
Well, he's going to be into it. He's already in the 3rd place, and number 1 turn is where we'll probably see a little bit more passing as the day go on, especially when the brakes get hot and the cars don't stop quite as good as they are right now.
I spoke of Al Unser Jr. being, as we ride with him now, a little dispirited somehow following that narrow loss at Indianapolis in the last couple of laps when he had the accident. A race like this, which he has won before, could be just the tonic that would put him back on the winning trail for the rest of the year.
It looks as if maybe we have a problem developing on Dale Earnhardt's car. The black car of Scott Pruitt has sneaked by, and he has moved into 4th position. That drops Earnhardt back to the 5th spot, and that'll be costly in the points chase.
Now, that was at the end of the long straightaway again, where drafting or slipstream, or whatever you want to call it, makes all the difference in the world.
On board with Scott Pruitt, taking a look at Dale Earnhardt's purple car. Earnhardt looks to the inside as the ground is covered by Pruitt. He is doing a little defensive driving.
Pruitt, of course, is very aggressive on road courses, not yet absolutely sure of himself on oval. On a course like this, Scott Pruitt knows he can be tough.
Now watch to the outside goes Pruitt. He's trying to gain that spot away from Dale Earnhardt. He does, and now he's on the outside trying to go around Al Jr. Jr. to the left of your screen. And here's Pruitt on the outside in the black car.
Now, that's a hard place to do it. Remember, that turn is way more than 90 degrees around. Really hard to pass somebody on the outside because the normal tendency of a car is just to drift right to the outside or knock the guy off that's out there.
Working up through the S's, there's a big change in attitude as you come up through these S's and go to the back stretches. We're on board again with Scott Pruitt. He looks at the rear deck lid of the man directly in front of him.
And that's the two young lions of racing today, Scott Pruitt and Al Unser Jr., Jack.
As the race gets underway here at Watkins Glen, we have had a clean start, followed by a clean first couple of laps, so the field of 12 is entirely intact and led there by Terry Labonte here in the hills of Watkins Glen. We'll be back. At the top, the cream-colored car, Terry Labonte, that is. Scott Pruitt and Al Unser Jr. dice for third.
That's really going to mix up the situation because Scott Pruitt has got the same tendencies as little Al. His hot spot for passing seems to be going right into turn 1. Now, that's probably got little Al a little mixed up because little Al's path into that turn 1 is to really get wide to hit his apex as late as he can. Like here. Now, there he's got Rusty Wallace right there, Jack.
A classic move going right in there, Sam Posey. It was smooth as glass as he went into that third spot.
Yes, and that is extremely hard to be able to make that pass going into 5.
He has moved into second position. You are on board. That is Al Unser Jr., and now he will set his sights on your leader, Terry Labonte. Labonte from Corpus Christi, Texas. Hot off a win at Talladega, Alabama. It has seemingly ignited a fuse in Terry Labonte. He won at Michigan in IROC round number 3, and he leads. He tries to snare in his championship and the $200,000 point payoff for IROC 13 in 1989.
Now, let's keep in mind, the little Al really has nothing to lose here today. He really can't win the championship. He has to just go for winning the race, and that's what he's doing.
Sam, trouble in turn 5. It's Danny Sullivan is off the course. He's gone off in turn 5. He's gathered it back in, but he's going to have to limp down to pit road. A lot of extensive damage on the front of the car.
That's all fiberglass. The damage is going to be bad for Danny. It's going to put him out of a contention at all, but it isn't as bad as it looks because it is fiberglass.
This is the first race, by the way, that Danny Sullivan has competed in without use of the brace. When he broke his wrist in his arm, he's been using that brace. He went without it today. Now, Al Unser Jr. continues to turn the heat up on Terry Labonte. There, from the rear bumper cam of Terry Labonte, you see Al Unser Jr.'s dark blue number 4 car just all over the rear deck lid. Now, it looks, Bobby, as if Al's using a lot of racetrack trying to find an advantage.
Well, he really is, and remember, he doesn't have anybody really chewing on his back end right now, so he's got a little bit of freedom. He's really trying to use the air to try to get a run. Right now, you see, he's trying to get a run, going down into turn 1. There he's going, trying to get underneath Labonte.
He goes to the inside, and he takes the lead, taking it away from Terry Labonte. But not to worry, Labonte still holds on to the points lead for the IROC championship. And look who's turned up the wick as well. Scott Pruitt is right in the hunt.
So remember what we said. That was turn 1. That is little Al's favorite place to pass. Look who's right behind. Scott Pruitt got Labonte right in between. Now that's really some good road racing going on.
Well, it's a real example of how the road racers are turning the tables on the NASCAR men who are able to keep them at bay on the ovals. And that's the whole concept behind IROC, and it's working.
Going to the inside is Scott Pruitt as they come to turn number 5. He accomplishes the pass, so Pruitt in the black car has taken over second position. Fading to third is Terry Labonte.
Now that was a high-speed draft. That's 160-mile-an-hour straightaway, and that's where Scott got by. He just drafted him, slipped right by on the inside. Cleanest little old pass you could ever believe.
Labonte may have dropped to third, Bobby, but if the race ended now, he would be IROC champion.
I get... And Sam, that battle is a torrid one. Al Unser Jr. in front, but look to the inside goes the black car. Scott Pruitt going for the lead in turn number 1. He's got it. Down out of turn number 1, getting set up for the S's. Al Unser Jr., you're on board as he tries to retake that front-running position from Pruitt. Pruitt with a nifty move, working up through the S's. It continues to be Scott Pruitt, but he's hounded by Al Unser Jr. Jr. having held the lead momentarily, lost it to Pruitt as we look out the rearview mirror. There goes Unser Jr. to the inside. Al Jr. trying to take the lead back away from Scott Pruitt. They're side by side down the backstretch. Who will have it going into turn number 5? Yes, oh, they almost rubbed. Unser Jr. takes over the front spot. A flip-flop of position. Out of turn 5, it's Al Unser Jr. leading Scott Pruitt in the black car. In the cream-colored car is Terry Labonte, and directly behind him, the powder blue machine, is Rusty Wallace. You are on board once again with Scott Pruitt, looking at the rear deck lid, and now going on board, looking out the back from your leader, Al Unser Jr. The wounded car of Danny Sullivan is back on the racetrack, Sam.
We have had a report that Sullivan has had trouble with his brakes, and that can be a traditional problem here at Watkins Glen. Not that the car's brakes aren't good, they are. But if you use them too hard, they fade a little bit. Last year, Al Unser Jr. managed to win this race by brilliantly conserving his brakes.
Well, Sam, Scott Pruitt tested extensively earlier this week, and he was very concerned about the brakes. And Bobby Unser, I would think that right now, looking at the way they're running, that they are both trying to save their brakes, because as you can see, the tan car of Terry Labonte and the powder blue car of Rusty Wallace have begun to close the gap again. On board with Scott Pruitt, watching him go through the gear changes. Little Al seems to get off the course just for a minute as they head to turn number 7 to complete another lap. 14 are down. We're reaching the halfway mark in IROC round number 4 for 1989, and it is Al Unser Jr. ahead of Scott Pruitt. Now, directly behind them in the cream-colored car is Terry Labonte, currently in the hunt for the championship, and right behind him, his chief adversary for that championship in the powder blue car, that's Rusty Wallace. Down through turn number 1 and in getting set for the S's, Sam Posey, and that's really a difficult place to run here.
Yes, but if there's one part of the track that can be legitimately called fun, it's the S's here. You toss the car first to the right, then the left, and now back to the right as the car gets a bit light. These cars, heavy as they are, feel light because of the exceptional speed up through the S's, now down the back straight, coming on there at 145, accelerating to about 160, right about here.
Bobby, you talked about the fact that this place had a lot of great places and different ways to pass. When you're running in a tight group like this, is it important to maintain a rhythm as we look on board Al Unser Jr.'s car at the guy that's running in second, the black car of Scott Pruitt?
Well, for sure it is, Jack. And we just went by one of the turns where the favorite place to pass is, and that's, of course, at the end of the long straightaway, where you can actually get a good draft and pull under a guy. Now, Scott's getting up the little Al right here, but there's not much he can do in this turn.
A light blue car right in the back we could see just for a moment. That is indeed Rusty Wallace. Wallace was off the course.
Well, they're actually not getting off very far. He's just drifting off what they call the high-speed bump, runs to a little bit of dirt. He just eases off the throttle, goes right on down the road that way.
We're looking backwards from leader Al Unser Jr.'s car to the second-place car.
Oh, no, Sam, in turn 5, Richard Petty has crashed the wall, hitting awfully hard, side-swiping on the driver's side. Petty is out. Meanwhile, Rick Mears and Jeff Brabham are battling in the back of the pack. They round out of turn number 7. But a tough break for Richard Petty. Let's take a look at it.
This came just before turn 5. Possible problems under braking. Boy, he hits that a ton.
At 160 miles an hour, Richard Petty comes onto pit road. He will not go to the service of the IROC crew. He brings it behind the wall. He's out of the race.
2 road racing specialists lead a quartet of NASCAR drivers. We're past the halfway point now, with lots of racing still to come.
And Rusty Wallace has come onto pit road. This is a bad break for Wallace if he has any hopes of gaining the championship. Remember, Bobby Unser, we alluded to the fact that he was off the course just about 4 laps ago, but he's come on under green flag conditions to take 4 brand new radial tires.
The most likely scenario for this has been that he had a slow leak in one of the tires. It takes no more time. The penalty's just as bad to change all 4. So they're just going to put 4 new tires on it, and there he goes back out.
28.97 seconds, but it was under green flag conditions, so he will not be penalized a lap. He'll be there and hoping now for a caution flag.
Major reshuffle in the championship, though, although Labonte would still win if the race ended right now. He would win the championship. Al Unser Jr., who we see here in the dark blue car on the left of the screen, would wind up second in the championship.
And that would be a flip-flop from 1 year ago, where Terry Labonte finished second and Al Unser Jr. snared the victory. Rick Mears has gone off the course. The white car, number 10, same spot where Richard Petty crashed. Same spot where everybody's been having problems, not only with the racetrack, but with the slick grass, Bobby.
Yes, and what they're actually doing, you can see you can hardly get it going in the slippery grass, but what absolutely happens has nothing to do with the slick grass. In the beginning, it's just that they're not having the brakes that they're used to. The cars obviously have good brakes because they're getting down in there. The leader cars are still going fast, Jack, but See, some of the cars are getting down there. They can't stop. The cars just drift right off and then hit the grass.
But just like your passenger car, as soon as you get off the pavement and you hit something slick, it seems as if the car begins to accelerate. Let's take a look at this spin, Bobby.
Now, he actually lost it. Rick lost it on the pavement. Now he hits the grass, and, of course, he gets less traction on the grass, you can see. It's like riding around a little boat with no oars in it. But nonetheless, when you come down on the pavement there, he just lost it going in, which probably was a brake problem.
But Rick Mears has brought his car onto pit road. He'll most likely be taking on 4 brand new tires, and he'll get back in the hunt. Meanwhile, up front, it continues to be a tandem combination leading here in IROC round number 4. The blue car of Al Unser Jr. pulling away to about 2 car lengths over the black car of Scott Pruitt. They've been at each other throughout this race, going for the lead. Unser Jr., your leader, Pruitt in second. Let's go to Brian Hammond.
Saw both Rick Mears and Rusty Wallace come in and get 4 tire changes. As far as Rick Mears is concerned, he just spun, flat spotted his tires, got 4 new ones. Rusty Wallace had this tire, the left front tire, equalized, throwing off the handling of the race car. That's why he had to make the change.
We're on board with Unser Jr. looking at Pruitt.
Now, this is where Pruitt will try his pass. He's pulling over to the side of little Al. They couldn't get in there, but look how close it is. Now, that's where he's going to be trying his passes pretty soon, I promise.
Well, you have said right from the get-go that Al Unser Jr. and Scott Pruitt like the S's portion of this course to try and accomplish a pass. Let's see if Pruitt makes any moves up through the S's here. Feints a move to the outside. Little Al covers the spot, comes back across. Good defensive maneuvers right now.
That's all wide open, clear from when you come out of number 1, all the way clear to the end of this back straightaway. This is the 160-mile-an-hour straightaway here, Jack. And it's wide open. He doesn't do anything with little Al there. He gets a little draft, and then he kind of stops. Now they're starting into a 180-degree turn right there.
Little Al is going for win number 5 in IROC competition, which would tie him with Cale Yarborough for most wins in this invitational series. So it means a lot what's going on.
Well, it's very important for Al Unser Jr., too, as we said, in order to get another victory. He's been kind of snake-bit since Indianapolis, where he looked as if he was going on to his first Indy 500 victory, and then had it come to a crash down the backstretch and in turn number 3. But right now, he seems to have mastered the Watkins Glen road course, and he is now leading Scott Pruitt.
And you know what happens there? He goes back to his Indianapolis team, the Gallows team, and says, hey, no damaged goods here. This driver can win races against the best in the world. Why can't I win races in your IndyCar? Maybe it's partly your problem.
Well, Sam, therein again, the difference between how important is the $200,000 and just how important is getting a victory. For Al Unser Jr., it's very important. As we look from the front bumper of Scott Pruitt's car, running in second place on this historic Watkins Glen facility.
With this Watkins Glen race winding down, Al Unser Jr. and Scott Pruitt are pulling away from Terry Labonte, Bill Elliott, and Dale Earnhardt. If the race were to finish now, Terry Labonte would be champion.
You're on Love.
59 IROC Championship is drawing to a close. Rusty Wallace, a strong favorite coming into the race, runs 8th out of contention following a tire problem. Terry Labonte, who you see here, led early in the race, and he currently holds 3rd behind Al Unser Jr. and Scott Pruitt. But this 3rd place is giving the taciturn Labonte a stranglehold on the championship. As good a day as it has been for Terry Labonte, it has been a bad day for Rusty Wallace.
But the biggest disappointment has been this man, Dale Earnhardt of Dooley, North Carolina. Had high hopes to be able to run to the front, bang his way to the top position, and maybe gather in the championship. He is winless in IROC competition, and it looks as if it will not be his day today either.
And that's another example. He may be winless this year, but there is nothing wrong with Dale Earnhardt's driving. He is one of the finest drivers that's ever stepped into a race car.
In the meantime, back up front, the battle simply for the checkered flag and for a change in positions in points. It's being handled right now by the blue car, Al Unser Jr. And Bobby Unser, it looks as if Scott Pruitt has begun to turn the heat up just a little bit. Did he rest his car, maybe try and get the brakes back in the car?
Yes, Jack, he does. He eases off for a little bit, let the brakes cool just a little bit, let the tires cool down a little bit, and he's saving a couple laps for the last, but he hopes he can get the little Al with.
At full speed, 150, 160 miles an hour as we get ready to go into the loop. You can see Pruitt go shifting down through there, makes the tight right-hander. And Sam, it looks as if right now it's just a case of where do you make your pass, and also when do you make your pass.
Well, here are two great road racers, young men who have immense futures ahead of them. Al Unser, much more experience, of course, in the big league than Scott Pruitt, but both of them with a really big future. This race probably counts for a lot between these two men, and I think we're going to see Pruitt try something.
Scott Pruitt is no stranger to victory lane in IROC competition. Remember, at Riverside, California, last year, he piloted his car to victory. But as we look at Al Unser Jr., he had a fine ride last year right here in Watkins Glen, New York. There are only approximately 3 miles left in this race. As they hurtle back towards turn number 7, it continues to be this car, the black car in second. That is Scott Pruitt. He has set his sights, as you look on board, on the man directly beneath the rear view mirror. That is your leader, Al Unser Jr. They're getting set up to come out of turn number 7 and come to the stripe one more time. Let's take a look from the back of Al Unser Jr.'s car.
Now you can see right now that Scott just is not pulling up on him. Scott probably tried to save a little bit.
Whoa!
He got offline there, that's for sure.
Yep.
So that means he's got his tires about as hot as they can stand. He didn't get them cooled off enough. So it doesn't look like he's going to be able to take a real fantastic quick charge.
White flag is out, and hugging the apex of that corner was Scott Pruitt. He tries to gather it back up after almost going off the course, but Al Unser Jr. rides to the outside into turn number 1. Pruitt in the black car, trailing, losing valuable time in turn number 6. There is less than 2 miles to go in this IROC race.
Pruitt's move came a lap ago, and it wasn't good enough. It came as they went down into turn 1. That was the closest he was going to get, from the looks of it, to Al Unser.
And by the gap you see right now, you can see that mistake cost him a little bit. And when you have two cars that are so competitive, as those two are right there, so equal, hey, just every bit of it makes the difference.
The equality comes into play. You can't make it back up by just mashing the accelerator. Any miscue is very costly. When you measure competition in seconds and scant inches, as we have here in the IROC competition, Al Unser Jr. is rounding out of the loop towards turn number 6, looking for the checkered flag. Pruitt trying everything he possibly can to take the victory away from him.
That's a little short straightaway in the back. Now they come into a left-hand turn very fast. There's not a lot of passing right there. And there's Terry Labonte, Jack.
Terry Labonte, who is trying to sail to his first IROC championship. As we come to turn number 7, it is Al Unser Jr. with a 5-car length advantage. He skids the car beneath the checkered flag. It will drop. On Albuquerque, New Mexico's Al Unser Jr., he acknowledges the checkered flag. Scott Pruitt will finish second. And rounding out of turn 7, there is your IROC champion for 1989 in the cream-colored car, Terry Labonte.
Well, thank you. I tell you, it's just a great series to compete in, and I was just lucky enough to win it. I tell you, all the competition's awful good, and the cars are awful close, and believe me, I was worried.
When you saw little Al pull out in front and Rusty fall behind, did you change your strategy at all?
Well, I changed it a little bit. I knew Al, had something for me when he caught me there and got by, and then I saw Rusty falling back, and I knew the main thing for me to do is not make any mistakes.